Hello dear students, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today's topic is chapter 5 Semiconductor Physics. Let us study part 1 in that Introduction to Energy Levels and Energy Bands. So we know that modern life, that is today's life, is heavily dependent on many electronic gadgets. In day-to-day life, we use many electronic gadgets such as smartwatch, computer, LED lamp, etc. So in all electronic gadgets, there is one common factor, and that is semiconductor devices, which them work. So semiconductors have made our life very comfortable and easy. So why this happened? Because semiconductors materials are smaller in size and light in weight, and because of that their operation speed of operation is faster than regular instruments. And also their size is also smaller. So because of all these applications of semiconductors are widely used in day-to-day life. So let us study these semiconductors in detail. Before going to study semiconductors in detail, we should know about atomic structure. As we know that an atom is the fundamental unit of matter, it consists of central placed positively charged heavy nucleus. So this nucleus contains two types of particles, protons and neutrons. Protons have positively charged while neutrons are electrically neutral. That is, it does not contain any charge. And that's why we say that nucleus is positively charged. And around this nucleus, negatively charged electrons revolve in different paths, and these paths are called as orbits. The maximum number of electrons that can exist in any orbit, it is given by the formula 2n square, where n is the number of orbits. For example, if we consider first orbit, then n is equal to 1. So 2n square is equal to 2 into 1 square, that is 2. So first orbit contains 2 electrons. If you consider second orbit, then 2n square is equal to 2 into 2 square, that is 8. So second orbit contains 8 electrons, and so on. But exception to this case is that the outermost orbit in any atom, it cannot have more than 8 electrons. So that is the exception for this. So the electrons which move randomly from one atom to another atom, these are called as free electrons, and these free electrons constitute currents, and these are also called as conduction electrons. Whereas the electrons in the inner shell, which are bound to the nucleus, they are called as bound electrons. The electrons in the outermost orbit are called as valence electrons. The outermost orbit itself is called as the valence orbit. In metals, valence electrons are loosely attached to the nucleus. So even at room temperature, if certain amount of energy is supplied to these valence electrons may get detached. That is, they get removed from the atom and become free. And such free electrons constitute currents. Hence, these are also called as conduction electrons. Now let us study energy levels. So negatively charged electrons revolve in different circular orbits around the nucleus. So we know this. So each orbit has a fixed amount of energy associated with it. The electrons moving in that particular orbit possesses that energy of that orbit. If orbit gets changed, then energy of the electrons in that particular orbit also gets changed here. So larger the orbit, that is, as we move away from the nucleus, as radius increases, the energy of electrons in that particular orbit also goes on increasing. Thus we say that outer orbit electrons possess more energy than inner orbit electrons, because outer orbit possesses larger radius and hence it has larger energy. So we can show the different energies of different orbits in a convenient way, which is called as energy level diagram. So energy level diagram is nothing but a graphical representation of energy of electrons in any orbit. Whenever we have to show energy of electrons in any orbit, we show it by a graph, and that graph, it is simply called as energy level diagram, as shown in figure here. So first part, it shows nucleus, and around this nucleus we have shown various orbits, its radius r1, r2, etc. As radius is increased, we can see in the second figure that energy of each orbit, it goes on increasing, as shown by E1, E2, E3, etc. Now we will see energy bands in solids. Whenever we consider a single isolated atom, electrons in that particular orbit possess definite energy. But when we consider a solid, a complete solid, then any atom in a solid, it is closely packed with neighboring atoms. So electron in that particular orbit, it does not have a single energy. Instead of single energy, it possesses a range of energies which is called as energy band. So range of energy is possessed by any electron in the particular orbit. It is called as a energy band. So we have shown here various energy bands. Instead of energy level E1, nucleus in any atom, it possesses first energy band, second energy band, third energy band. That is, instead of a single energy, electron possess range of energies, and these range of energies, it is simply called as energy band. There are various energy bands in a solid depending upon the atomic number, but we have only certain important energy bands in solids. As shown in figure, we have shown two bands here, two energy bands, valence band and conduction band. So the range of energies possessed by valence electrons is simply known as valence band, whereas the range of energies possessed by conduction electrons, or we can say that free electrons, it is called as conduction band. And the gap between conduction band and valence band on the energy level diagram, it is called as forbidden energy gap. Meaning of forbidden is not allowed. So no electron of a solid can stay in forbidden energy gap, as there is no allowed energy state in this region. The meaning of forbidden itself shows that not allowed. The width of this forbidden energy gas is important here, because this width is a measure of bondage of valence electrons to the atoms. The greater the energy gap, more tightly the valence electrons are bound to the nucleus. So in order to push an electron from valence band to the conduction band, that is, we have to make the valence electron free for current conduction. External energy equal to the forbidden energy gap must be supplied. So if this gap is very small, then small amount of energy has to be supplied. But if this forbidden energy gap is large, then large amount of energy has to be supplied to the electron in the valence band, and then it will jump from valence band to conduction band, that is, it becomes free here. Now let us study MCQs related with energy levels and energy bands. The dash dash of energies possessed by dash dash is known as valence band. We know that energy band, it is the range of energies, and valence band contains valence electrons. So we say that the range of energies possessed by valence electrons is known as valence band. So option D is correct one. The energy gap between valence band and conduction band is called as, we have seen that the gap between valence band and conduction band, it is called as forbidden energy gap. The range of energies occupied by valence electrons is called as, so we know that the range of energies, it is called as a band, and as it is occupied by valence electrons, we called it as valence band. The range of energies occupied by free electrons or conduction electrons is called as, again the range of energies is called as band, and as it is occupied by free electrons or conduction electrons, it is called as conduction band. The maximum number of electrons which the valence shell of an atom can have is, we know that number of electrons in any orbit is given by the formula 2n square, where n is the number of orbit, but exception to the case is that the valence orbit, it cannot have more than 8 electrons. So maximum number of electrons in valence shell should be 8. Which of the following is an atom composed of? So as we have seen in atomic structure, that any atom, it consists of centrally placed nucleus containing two types of particles, protons and neutrons, and around this nucleus negatively charged electrons revolve. So any atom is composed of three particles, protons, neutrons and electrons. So option D, all of the above, is correct here. Amount of energy that valence electrons must have in order to jump from valence band to conduction band is called as, we have seen important energy bands in solids, in that we have seen two types of bands, valence band and conduction band, and the gap between this valence band and conduction band is called as forbidden energy gap. And the electron in valence band, we have to must supplied accordingly the energy gap, the energy which is equal to the forbidden energy gap, then it will jump to the conduction band. So option in this case, it is option B, energy gap. An energy band in which electrons can move freely is called as. So electrons can move freely. So such electrons, these are called as free electrons which can constitute currents. So these are also called as conduction electrons. So energy band in which electrons can move freely, it is simply called as conduction band. What is an energy level in an atom? We know that energy level in an atom, it is the energy of that particular orbital that an electron occupies. Thank you very much. If you like this video, you can like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you very much.